Lux Terra Leadership Foundation has launched the first Psycho-Spiritual Institute in Nigeria. The institute is an affiliate of Veritas University Abuja and has gotten the accreditation of the National University Commission. CTV News was at the launch that took place at Villanova Estate in Abuja.
In her effort to provide psycho-spiritual healing for troubled minds in Nigeria, the Lux Terra Leadership Foundation has established a psycho-spiritual institute in Nigeria. In this press conference, the director of Lux Terra Leadership Foundation, Reverend Father George Ehusani, explained the reason why the institute is necessary in today's Nigeria.
Which has attended the modern urban culture as well as the emergence of new diseases and epidemics, etc., have all combined to render the average modern person more vulnerable to mental confusion, burnout, depression, psychotrauma, and post-traumatic stress disorders, addictive disorders of all kinds, midlife crisis, suicide ideation, suicides, etc., than those of previous generations. We are more vulnerable because of these circumstances to mental disorders than people of previous generations. A lot of people in many African countries are, after the 400 years slave trade, the 100 years of colonialism, and the post-independent period of bad governance, monumental corruption, and widespread impoverishment of the people, a lot of people are enduring immense pain and misery, and often visiting their unaddressed psychic pains and traumas on their fellow countrymen and women, further worsening the already precarious situation. The Nigerian experience is particularly worrisome. For several years, the northern and middle belt regions have been experiencing outbreaks of high-intensity violent conflicts, resulting in thousands of deaths and the displacement of millions of people. These violent conflicts have now extended to other parts of the country, the southwest, the southeast, the south-south. Many of the persons who are direct or indirect victims and survivors of the terrorist insurgency, the widespread banditry, the sporadic inter-ethnic and inter-religious conflicts, and the widespread kidnapping for ransom, and sundry criminality across the length and breadth of the country have lived through extremely traumatic experiences. Children have watched their fathers hacked to death or their mothers savagely raped in their presence. Many survivors have lost everything overnight, including their family members, their sources of livelihood, their homes and properties, and they are suddenly thrown into abject poverty and destitution. Some have lost limbs and are now living with one disability or the other. Others have been raped or have endured untold physical torture and psychological abuse. Indeed, most Nigerians have been living through circumstances that are morally equivalent to war, with devastating consequences for their psycho-emotional well-being and that of their family members. In addition to the escalating violence all over the country in the last few years is the phenomenon of widespread substance abuse, especially among our youths all over the country, including students of secondary schools and tertiary institutions. Indeed, many young people are becoming addicted to drugs and alcohol, which increases criminality in society. We are also witnessing an increasing level of marital breakdown and family dysfunction, spousal and domestic violence, as well as divorce, which often leave the offspring of the marriages in great distress and sometimes vulnerable to a variety of psychopathologies. This is apart from the fact that most of those whose marriages collapse irretrievably do sustain deep emotional wounds that require psychological support towards healing and well-being. To compound all the already bad situations outlined above, we may add the very high unemployment rate, including graduate unemployment, and the resultant extreme poverty and destitution that many Nigerian individuals and families face today. Sadly, Nigeria is a country where mental health awareness, even among the educated segments of the population, is very low indeed. Generally across the country, the Nigerian people and government have yet to gain sufficient awareness that mental health care requires as much attention as physical healthcare, and that effective healthcare delivery in the contemporary society should take a holistic approach, taking into cognizance the human person's physiological, psycho-emotional, spiritual, and social well-being, rather than focusing on only one or two limited dimensions of the complex human reality. Lux Terra's intervention. In the year 2013, the Psycho-Spiritual Institute of Lux Terra Leadership Foundation was established specifically to respond to some of the above challenges from a uniquely integrated, multidisciplinary, psycho-spiritual and cultural perspective, whereby the resources of religion and spirituality are combined with the resources of modern psychological sciences to facilitate healing as well as wholeness, wholesome growth and development.
The institute, which is affiliated to Veritas University Abuja, will provide master's degree in psychospiritual therapy, postgraduate diploma in psychospiritual trauma healing, and certificate in psychospiritual trauma counseling.
This particular institute is quite unique in the sense that the curriculum for this does not really exist in present MUC programs. And so it is important to recognize that it is innovative, very, very innovative, and begins a new, more or less, dimension, a new vista in the training of that's usually associated with Nigerian universities. It's psycho-spiritual, therapy. I mean, it's not in our regular. So this is, and I think it's also courageous on the part of MUC to see that this is also recognized as part of the training program in a Nigerian university. So this is where the university, when this was first proposed to the university, Veritas University Senate, it went through the process of assessment, looking at the curriculum, looking at the dimensions, looking at all that's required to making an academic program.
Guests at the conference took turn to give goodwill messages and to commend Lux Terra for the noble initiative.
We have now opened the way for the look into other areas of academia that are quite different from what we have today. The world is changing. The emerging 21st century world is one needing people who will be into different other things. There are so many multidimensional, multilateral things that are happening in our world. It is, in fact, wrong to say, and I'm doing a paper, to say that it is wrong to say that some percentage of the people have got trauma or they are distressed. Everybody in this world, anybody living on this planet is traumatized one way or the other.
I want to congratulate Father Ikusani for the great work he has done, the diligence, and the dedication to humanity that this legacy will be and has become. I want to thank all of you on behalf of the Board of Trustees, and we look forward to an increase in the numbers of people.
This step is a particularly courageous one, and I think a necessary step, next step in moving forward in building that capacity. Congratulations once again. And I would like to say congratulations to the graduates.
And I want to thank you very much for your courageous step. I know you must have passed through hell to come out of it. Going to NUC, they will give you many grammars. All you have just said, NUC approved. It's not easy like that. But I know what that passed through. I want to thank you very much. We are partnering with you and we will give you support. What Prof are finally summarizing is not just few people that are traumatized. All of us, everybody, including me as a bishop. I'm under trauma because the crisis I have to settle among the clergy, among the laity, their traumatic problems have overwhelmed me now that I'm also traumatized. I need to be healed myself.
Just to say that health can never be complete unless this aspect, which is psycho-spiritual, is permanent. That's why from the health angle, I have to make sure that I am here today on behalf of people who are in the health sector. Once again, congratulations, and anything we can do to make this a success, count on us.
The gathering was also an opportunity for some of the graduating students to receive their certification. In Abuja, Tony Abba, CTV News.